Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota. The Toyota National Sales Event continues. Come check out the new Camry, Corolla, the all-new Crown, or the new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas. Qualified buyers on those can get 3.99% APR for up to 60 months. See them for all the details. Visit on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville, or online, ThornhillToyotaWV.com. Toyota, let's go places. And we do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. Today's the big day. Looking for something to do on this beautiful spring day. Come on down to the Scary Creek exit. Actually, it's the St. Albans exit. It's Scary Creek off I-64 as our sister station 96.1 KWS teaming up with Par-Mar Stores to give away Tim McGraw tickets. Concert coming up here real soon. So you got your chance to win tickets today. Rob Reel will be there between noon and 2. Come see the all-new store because it had to be rebuilt. There was an accident down there, as I'm sure you're aware of. So come on out today and join 96.1 KWS there at Par-Mar. Starting at noon today for your chance to win free Tim McGraw tickets. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. We are loaded up on the show this morning, to put it mildly. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, Senator Joe Manchin is going to be here. It's opening day for the Reds, so I've had to carve out a little bit of time to talk about that. Senator Eric Tarr is going to be stopping by, plus we're going to get an update on some things going on at West Virginia State University. But before we get into all that, I'm sure by now you have seen the video and heard us talking about it, read the stories online about the incident yesterday at the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association. Angie Gillenwater is with us right now to talk about exactly what happened up there. Angie, good morning and welcome to the show. Sorry you had to be there on these circumstances, though.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, it was quite a day yesterday.
Indeed, it was. The U-Haul basically just crashed into the shelter building yesterday. Now, I understand that you were on site, several other staff members were, but you were not open to the public at that time. Is that right?
Correct. So we opened to the public at noon. The crash happened right around 11 a.m. So our staff were still cleaning and preparing to open to the public. And all of a sudden, everyone that was in the building reported hearing like a loud boom, almost like thunder. But it was a beautiful day yesterday, so everyone was like, what was that? And then when we started to see the damage is when we all kind of jumped into panic mode.
Right, yeah, and it was a pretty horrific scene. If there was a U-Haul that crashed into the building, and I know you're not playing detective here. We'll let the experts take care of that. I understand Charleston Police has launched an investigation into it. But basically what we hear is that the driver's reporting that his accelerator stuck and he ran the U-Haul into the building. And if you've ever been up there, as many of our listeners probably had, it's not very conducive to U-Haul driving to begin with up there. Angie, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair, especially to even cross the bridge to get to the shelter's parking lot. It's a very, very, very narrow bridge. So kind of crazy he even made it across the bridge to get to the parking lot.
I mean, do we have any, you don't have to get into it if you don't want to, because we don't want to, jeopardize an investigation, but was it like a potential person there to drop something off or to pick up a animal, or do we know?
So he was actually there to pick up his animal. We had his animal on just like a regular straight hold, and he was there to actually come get him and take him home.
Okay. So we understand that there was one injury to a dog, but the dog's going to be okay. Is that right?
Yes, correct. The crash site, a couple cinder blocks had fallen. We have pictures on our Facebook where you can see where the cinder blocks had fallen into a couple of the kennels. And what had happened with that dog, best we can figure, is a cinder block fell on her, but luckily she was a Great Pyrenees and is walking away with just a slight limp.
All right. And I know the community really rallied around because you went on social media and said, hey, we need fosters. How many dogs did you have to get fostered?
So we were sending every single thing we had out of the building just to keep everyone, the safety of all the animals in everyone's best interest. So we sent animals that were on cruelty hold, animals that were on stray hold, animals that were on medical hold, as long as the fosters felt comfortable knowing that info. Mm-hmm. And yesterday we sent 146 animals out to foster.
146. I keep saying dogs, but I forget there are other animals up there too. What do you need, Angie, from the public at this time?
So we still need all of our regular supplies. We are supplying everything for fosters if they need the items. So food, bowls, blankets, towels, and then something we went through yesterday that we were not prepared for. We went through an insane amount of clip leashes and slip leashes. Okay. So if you are able to donate either of those, that would be great as well, because our building is almost completely out of leashes.
What would be the best way for people to donate? I know that you've been doing a great job, as I said, on your social media and your Facebook page, but what's the best way for people to actually make the donations, Angie?
So if you're wanting to donate actual physical items, you can still come up to the shelter and drop off those donations. We're just going to try to limit everyone's time in the building as much as possible, just to keep everyone safe. The building is temporarily stable at this time, so we, the fire department and us, we all feel comfortable having people stop by to drop off donations. We would greatly appreciate it. If you aren't able to get up to the shelter, don't feel comfortable coming up to the shelter, you can make a monetary donation on our Facebook or Instagram page. All
right, Angie. I know it's trying times for you folks up there, but I wanted to try to give an update for our listeners this morning. I appreciate you being here, and I'll have Hannah on tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to try to get back to something a bit of normalcy to try to get our weekly pet adopted tomorrow. Angie, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Angie Gillenwater, again, the Community Engagement Director for the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association. Wow, what a situation up here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you're replacing a roof, remodeling a kitchen, or replacing a bathroom, keep it safe, keep it legal. Get with Pinnacle Consultants. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within about a week. Testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead is the law in the state. Visit pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. I want to bring in now Renee Lester, who is with West Virginia State University, the Executive Director of Career Services. Did I get your title right, Renee?
You did. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I heard about a program on our stations, actually, last week that you guys are doing called the Yellow Jacket Career Closet. Talk about that program.
Yes, we're super excited. Through a partnership with Diversified Energy, they gave us funds to do the startup, construct that space into what is now the Yellow Jacket Career Closet. So it is for current West Virginia State University students. They do have to be enrolled, but it's going to allow them to be able to come in and receive professional clothing for an upcoming interview, first day on the job, the etiquette dinner, or any other professional networking event. And the students will have the ability to acquire professional clothing at no cost to them, and they keep them. So the clothing, once the student takes it, it's theirs.
So we're looking at if people got some things that they would like to get rid of. We want it to be good quality, though.
Yes.
I mean, maybe you're like me and you just outgrew them. How's that?
Yes. We are asking anyone that is willing to donate that they be freshly cleaned and in good condition, but we are also looking for just business professional clothing. So dress pants, dress shirts, suits, dress shoes, ties, handbags, briefcases, things like that. But yes, please, good condition only.
Okay, well, that's completely understandable. What dates are we looking at on this? What's our time frame on this?
So we're going to be continuing to accept donations throughout the summer months, and then moving forward, we will do specific targeted drives. But right now, we are looking for both women's and men's professional clothing in all sizes. I will say that we have specific needs right now for men's dress pants and women's larger sizes. Right now, we don't have a lot of variety in women's plus sizes. So
Okay.
we would like to carry a variety of sizes for both men and women. So we will accept all donations, but that's specifically what we are in need of at this time.
Okay, and where can people, what's the best way to do the donations? Take them to the campus or to contact you? What do you need people to do?
So either. So if you would like to drop off in person, you can drop off at the Office of Career Services, which is located in Wallace Hall, room 108. If you would like for us to make arrangements to pick up, you can contact our office at 304-766-3250. Or you can email careers@wvstateu.edu, and we are happy to make arrangements to pick up, or if you're willing to drop them off, you can do so.
I think it's an awesome program. I mean, I really, really do, because these young minds that you've got, and sometimes not even young minds, or just minds that you're trying to mold up there, and you've got to be able to get them, dressed for success, as they say. And
yes.
I think it's a great program. While we're talking about careers, again, we're talking with Renee Lester of West Virginia State University. You've got a career and employment expo going on Monday. Talk about it.
So it's actually next Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
April 4th.
My fault. I'm sorry.
10 to 2. It's open to all West Virginia State University students, recent graduates, and the general public. We currently have 54 vendors registered, and it's a wide variety of industries. So we encourage all students and the general public to attend that. Whether you're looking for part-time, full-time internship opportunities, it's a good way to network and just meet with different organizations.
Let's talk about employers right now. I mean, can employers still sign up, for this?
Right now, we have a wait list. So
Okay,
we're
all
at
right.
max capacity
That's
right
a good
now.
problem to have.
If an employer would like to get on the wait list, they can contact our office, and we would put them on a wait list. That way, if someone is not able to attend, we can reach out to them.
And I think that this is really, really great, because you're not only going to have, as you mentioned, not only prospective employers, but you're also going to have folks like at other universities that offer graduate type programs. So it's think of it as a future fair, I guess, right?
Yes.
Because it's not just employers.
It's not. We have West Virginia State University graduate programs, and then surrounding universities, Concord, Marshall, that are going to be promoting graduate programs. So any student that's wanting to continue their education is also encouraged to stop by and get information about graduate programs,
That's
whether
great.
it be at our university or a surrounding university.
You got a lot of good stuff going on out there at West Virginia State University. I mean, it amazes me the different things that you have going on out there. I think it's a testament to the staff of West Virginia State, Mr. Cage, and everybody that just do a fantastic job out there. Renee Lester, the West Virginia State University Executive Director of Career Services. Again, the fair is Thursday. I even wrote it right here. It's Thursday. It's Thursday next week. Information is available where?
Information is available on our website, and you can also contact our office directly. 304-766-3014 is my direct number.
All right. Well, Renee, appreciate being on the show today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with everything. It is 9:20, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Husson's Pizza. Get an 18-inch pepperoni pizza and pizza bowl, only $22.99. Find your nearest Husson's at HussonsPizza.com for delivery, pickup, or for dining in. We're going to take a break. Senator Finance Chair Eric Tarr coming up next. Back after this from the Parmar Store Studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. We'd like to thank you, West Virginia, for making us the #1 office furniture and commercial interiors company in West Virginia. Remember, when you're looking for quality office furniture and space planning for healthcare, corporate offices, or even a private office, call us and buy local. Omega Commercial Interiors. We're a proud West Virginia company. Visit us online at omegacommercialinteriors.com in Morgantown and Charleston.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. The Parmar location just off the St. Albans exit of I-64 at Scary Creek has now reopened, and we want you to join us to celebrate on Thursday the 28th. Parmar's teamed up with Superstar Country 96.1 KWS to give away free Tim McGraw tickets. Join Rob Reel from KWS broadcasting live starting at noon on the 28th for your chance to win. Come see the newly reopened store and maybe win free Tim McGraw tickets, no purchase necessary, from Superstar Country, KWS, and Parmar stores. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
I am Miss West Virginia USA, future doctor.
And I am Miss West Virginia America, future educator.
We are partnering with the West Virginia Department of Education as ambassadors for learning.
By supporting the department's Ready, Read, Write Literacy Initiative
and the Unite with Numeracy Mathematics Initiative, we will increase student learning.
We must do this together.
Because teachers can't do this alone.
For resources and more information, visit wvde.us.
922. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Fresh Air. They'll change those heating and cooling unit air filters for your home, your retail or industrial business, restaurant, church, whatever. They can custom build those custom filters for you. 24-hour emergency service available too. Visit freshairfilters.us or call 304-440-1104 for Fresh Air, because everyone deserves fresh air. Texas Dave, another way to support West Virginia State University is to watch the movie River of Hope, about a former slave, Mary Barnes, and her children founding the university after the Civil War. The film is streaming on Amazon, and all royalties go directly to the WVSU Foundation to support current and future students. Appreciate that information. Text said, any word from the mayor's office on when the Riston investigation will be completed and released? No, but Monday, I do have Mayor Monday coming up. Now, I understand Mayor Goodwin's not going to be able to be on the show on Monday, but Chief of Staff Matt Sutton will be on the show on Monday, so we will address that with him. Senator Joe Manchin coming up a little bit later on. Plus, it is opening day for the Cincinnati Reds. They're still in contention at this point for the World Series and for the playoffs. Mr. Tarr, you aware of that, right?
Actually, I was not aware of that.
They're still there.
I just came out of hibernation underneath that gold dome over there.
They are undefeated. The Reds are undefeated at this point. This is our year, man.
It's a big deal.
Senator Eric Tarr, Senate Finance Chair, here. You got some important business that you got to talk about, though, outside politics.
I do. I have to say happy birthday to my mom, Brenda, out there. I know she's listening right now, and so she's got a big birthday tomorrow, and family's all celebrating that. So happy birthday, Mom.
Well, happy birthday, Mama Tarr.
Yeah, I bet.
That should be a country song.
That sounds like a country song.
It's like Merle Haggard, Mama Tried, but Mama Tar.
We got a family people plays bluegrass. I'm sure we can make that song.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you play yourself?
I try to go along when they're doing it. I can harmonize with them, but I just can't keep up. They're fast.
I just can't see you, Eric, with all due respect. I just can't see you. Maybe you could play the jug or something like that. Because all my family are musicians, except for me. I'm the only one in the entire family that doesn't play or sing.
Oh, well, that's with me. I try. I'm with people, and I can sing just low enough that I do my voice and have fun with them.
As an old bluegrass picker from Logan County used to say, he sings in the key of L. And then he would say, well, it sounds like L.
Yeah.
Just say it fast. We're a couple weeks with the session behind us right now. Give me an overall view of the session.
It is a very different session than what we typically have, just because, friends and enemies alike, I pretty much conceded that almost every election in West Virginia is won in the Republican primary. And, in years past, I have a little frustration with this session. I've been telling people that this is the most stressful session I've ever served in my time up here. And that when we came in as Republican majority in 2015 and had 18 members majority in the Senate, we were busting down walls, and the Republicans thought, we've got 2 years, and Democrats are probably getting this back, so we're going to make all the changes we possibly can and just win on a full steam charge. Well, it's changed a bit now, so now it's a kind of a given that most of the races are won in the Republican primary. And that's conceded by, the people that the Republicans typically are juxtaposed to, which is your personal injury lawyers, it's the teachers' unions, it's labor unions, and those groups are the ones that all fund races against Republicans. And so now that everybody, including them, have conceded that's where the races are won, they're trying to jump into Republican races, and you have these big mega majorities, and suddenly they're playing it safe in this primary election. It's the first time I've ever seen Republicans play it safe during a session because of elections. And so for me, that's frustrating because I'm a guy who tends to, just And what's the policy do? And that's we're going to do what's best with the policy. And so fighting that political push with a logical mind is difficult for me. So it created a lot of stress in the session. But overall, there were some big wins in this session, especially around the opioid stuff. Which was kind of we knew we were going to focus on some of the drug addiction stuff in this session, and things that circle around that, like human trafficking, some of the enablement things that happened that facilitates the trafficking of drugs and humans in West Virginia. And we had some pretty powerful legislation around that this session, so I'm proud of that.
If you had to give it, Senator, an overall grade.
An overall grade?
Overall grade.
Oh, man, we probably had a C+ to B-, I would say, is what the overall grade is. I think that we probably spent a little bit more than I would like this session.
What's interesting about that C- grade is I've talked to people on both sides of the aisle. I had on Fred Albert from AFT. I think that's the grade he gave it. I think so. On different sides of the aisle, everybody seems to say it was a C-. So
yeah. Well,
C- or a D. It's what I mainly got.
Well, I don't think I'd go down to D. I think we had, given what the governor started with the State of the State address, it could have been a whole lot worse. One of the things we got right now is, for decades, if I'm over 50 years old. If you're over 50 years old, you can remember when West Virginia, you weren't sure if you're a public employee, you're going to get your paycheck cashed. So there were times in that. So for years and years and years and years, West Virginia's lived paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, and you're adjusting what you're eating next week based on what you got left in that paycheck that week. And so for the first time, really here in the past couple of years, West Virginia has some money in its pocket. And it's because we've had these really fiscally conservative policies, and we've held the line on spending and those type of things, and we've applied spending to things that bring money back or save money. And so this session, there's a really hard push all the way from day one at the State of the State address to spend everything that was in every little pocket. And so it was a challenge to hold that spending control. And so we went a little more than I would like, but overall it could have been a lot worse.
Eric, and you and I have been friends for a number of years, long before I started doing this show, and I can say things to you and you don't get offended by them, and vice versa. And we have in the past. I consider you to be far right, okay? That's not a bad thing, okay, necessarily. I know you wouldn't take offense to that. But there were some in the legislature this year that, quite frankly, in the opinion of a lot of people, went far, far right. You probably even scratched your head a couple times at some of the things that the far, far right went for. Do you have any concerns that maybe the Republican Party in the state may be going too far right?
No, really. I think when it comes right down to, I would consider myself far right, but not a counter-conservative, and what I think that you may be calling far right are people that I would call counter-conservative. In other words, our politics probably line up pretty close, but the method you use to accomplish that policy is extremely different from the way that I would accomplish that policy. I apply pragmatism to the politics. What I would call counter-conservatives have no pragmatism, and they get in their own way for the way that they try to legislate. And so there's a lot of that within the Republican Party. But the party itself is split right down the middle, and it's a frustration to me from a person who would consider themselves far right. And I think the evidence of that happened with the West Virginia Republican State Executive Committee when we went in and had the vote whether to close primaries this year. And that amendment failed by 6 votes, and there was 120 people in the room. So when you look at and that vote, I think, was a measure of where does the party stand. Where is it on the spectrum of conservatism? So to me, I think right now, and I think the legislature reflects on a lot of the bills that come through, is split right down the middle. It's that way in our caucus. I think it's that way in the House too.
And this is not unusual. I mean, the Democrats, for 83 years that they controlled West Virginia, probably had similar type issues because you had, and I've talked to some folks, that Danny Jones being one that served at one point, and several friends of mine that served in the 80s, and they talk about that, about how the Democrats had similar issues. Whenever somebody has complete control, supermajorities, this sort of thing kind of happens. Now, let's go back to that. You were one of the ones that I think really wanted to close the primary. You were very adamant about that. Why do you feel so strongly about that, Eric?
It goes off the first statement I made about that everybody realizes that in this election, the races are won in the Republican primary. So the trial attorneys realize that, labor unions realize that, teachers unions realize that. And in the past, the way that those groups would go in and take a Republican seat, and it's fairly recent past, there's been 2 Republican seats in the Senate that have been won this way, is they would have people who would traditionally, that were in that independent group, that would normally vote in the Democrat primary, they went out and pushed for those people to vote in the Republican primary and put a far-left Republican in a seat of a place where a conservative had been sitting. Mm-hmm. So that was when they thought, maybe we win these seats, maybe we don't. Well, now they know that's the only way they can win these seats. And so what's going to happen is normally you have about a third of the independents that vote Democrat primary tickets now, and then you have about 2/3 that go Republican. So what's going to happen now is all of those are going to be voting in the primary. So you got that whole 1/3 that now jumps into Republican primaries and pulls the Republican Party left. That's going to happen this election. And so if we would have closed those primaries, those people who now are going to choose sides, they're going to have to choose sides. Mm-hmm. I met with somebody last night who said, you know what, he's been Democrat all his life, just changed Republican, or actually to Independent not long ago.
Okay.
And so I had breakfast with him yesterday morning. He said, "Daggone it, Eric," he said, "I want to switch my party to Republican now." And I said, "Well, you got till next election to do it now." He goes, "Yeah." He said, "It's because you guys changing that in there." And I said, "You just proved my point in what I was saying. You're picking the side." And he's a Democrat all his life. He's further right than I am. But he's, to your point, he's a Mingo County Democrat.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, Eric, there's a lot of this. I'm from Logan County, so the listeners know. And, everything was decided in the Democratic primary down there for years, even the most far, all of the points that are Republicans, whether it's abortion issues, whether it's, you name it, but they were all still registered Democrat. Are you worried, though, that some of those people, maybe the older types, kind of set in their ways that just, I'm going to stay a Democrat because Papaw would turn over in his grave or whatever? I've heard all that before. Are you worried that some of those folks, that you may turn off some of those people that just can't seem to put that R behind their name?
I think some of those would be turned off. I don't think it's high volume. I think you're going to hear a lot of moaning and groaning and griping, but they're going to switch. And the reason I think that is because the Democrats have ran this country so far left. They are abolishing so many of our freedoms. At big city after big city after big city. You can see it. The blue cities and blue states are bleeding people like crazy because people are running from those type policies. Mm-hmm. In this election, when you have Trump and Biden, who are going to be in this general election coming up, and in this primary, you got so many people who want to run to the ballot in West Virginia and throw that vote for Trump as fast as they can, not so much just because they're so excited about Trump, it's because they are so fed up with the liberals. And so if those people, they're switching to Republican to go make that vote. Mm-hmm. If we had closed them in this primary.
And it's going to be revisited in 2026, I understand. Is that right?
Well, no, it's in 2026 it's closed.
It is going to be closed. Okay.
Yeah.
But, is that a done deal? Because I have heard rumors that there could be in 2026, there could be some more discussion about it. I know you'll be out there trying to fight that. So
yeah, so we're always going to have more votes between now and then. So if somebody wants to try to keep them open and there's an effort made, I'm sure we'll be discussing that again. So there's time for those that are opposing closing that primary in 2026. I think that they'll have time to mount that effort. I don't know where we'll be then, though.
Can I read a couple texts here for you?
Sure.
You're always good about that. Text says, I'd give this year's legislature an F for failure for families, foster kids, and disabled children and adults by the fanatical far right.
No. And I think that's a misunderstanding of how we are budgeting now. One of the people in our in the staff in the Senate who's been around this budgeting process for a while, he said, you know what? He said, Eric, we have fundamentally changed how West Virginia makes a budget now. And we did. And I'll tell you how we did that. Is because of what the governor brought us in the state was such a fantasy of spending that we knew that we couldn't go from what happens is the governor comes in, presents his budget, and we work off that budget to build a budget. Well, what had to happen this time was that wasn't something we could work off of. So we worked off last budget, and we looked at what appropriate spending would be relative to the needs of West Virginia and when we will come back, because now there's several things that are different. One is that we're in surplus situations for a while now. To give you an example, what used to happen is the governor would come in and give a revenue estimate, and that was it. You hoped you got that much money. Well, now what he's given two revenue estimates. He comes in and says, we have a revenue estimate of $5.22 billion, but we also expect $780 million in surplus. Well, that's a $6 billion total revenue estimate. The thing is that revenue is declining fast with the tax cuts. And so when we went in and started looking at this, we knew we're going to be back 2 or 3 times before next end of the fiscal year. Mm-hmm. And we continually adjust that budget when we come back in. When we come in for our interim sessions, we can do special sessions over top of that. And we can go in and look now much better at an agency's spending and find out, did they really need that much on the appropriation? Instead of pulling more of your money, instead of pulling more money out of Dave Allen's pocket and paying for those services, we can now go in and look and say, you know what, they didn't use all the money we gave them here. We're going to transfer that money over here to where we probably under-appropriated a little bit. We couldn't do that before. This is the first time ever we have that opportunity. So the way we budget in West Virginia is fundamentally different now. There's plenty more opportunity to look at those things. I think that we have enough unappropriated funds by the way that we did this, that we can go in and have a much more accurate spend relative to when the spend is needed for those services that we deem appropriate to appropriate money to. And so in the past, you had to forecast that out 18 months. We don't have to do that anymore.
Before we let you go, last night the governor opted to veto the controversial immunization bill. Your thoughts on that?
I'm disappointed. So, I voted for that bill. It really didn't change brick and mortar immunization at all. And I know that a lot of the healthcare, and I'm a physical therapist, so a lot of my compadres, they lost their mind when they saw I was voting yes for this bill. But when it comes right down to it, we've got a lot of people leaving our public school system to go into all the other educational choices we gave them. And this is one of the reasons. And this is because, vaccine injury is a real thing. We have 44 other states that aren't as strict as West Virginia. We have 36 million people that go through West Virginia a year that come from those other states. And we have 1.8 million people here. Herd immunity gets to be a little bit of a myth when that's happening. We all go out to those other states as well. So when you go in, what this vaccine bill did is just said that if you're not in a brick and mortar public school, you're not going to be withheld from education from charter schools if you're a virtual charter school. So you're sitting at home, in your house, on a computer. Right now, the law says you have to be vaccinated in order to participate in that virtual charter school. Why would we withhold education from a child for that? So that's one thing. So now what they're going to do is they can't do virtual charter school. So where are they going to go? Well, they're going to go to home health, or they're going to go, not home health, excuse me, I'm a physical therapist. They're going to homeschooling.
Right, yeah.
But is probably where they end up going, because even in the private schools have to require the immunization right now. So this would have given the private school the option. Most likely, many of them would not have done it because they would have so many people that would leave the private school they probably couldn't operate at that point, because they operate on dues paid or, tuition paid. So I think the bill wasn't terribly aggressive. It gave children some options that they don't have now. It gave parents some options they don't have now. So I would have liked to have seen a little more of that choice for those parents. So I'm disappointed in the veto.
All right. Senator Tarr, we got to leave it there. I always appreciate your time coming on the show, man. Thanks a lot.
For having me on.
Happy birthday, Mama Tarr.
Happy birthday, Mom.
21 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Brightway Insurance and Mays Agency of Tays Valley, locally owned and operated by an Air Force veteran and a former teacher. When it comes to insurance, they're everything you've been looking for. Brightway offers expertise from real local agents, not a 1-800 number. Call them locally. John and Sherry, 304-814-2509. Back with Senator Joe Manchin after this from the Parmar Store Studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
For too long, liberal activist judges have been in power. All while we're losing jobs, criminals go free, and the drug problem gets worse. It's time for a fresh face in the courthouse.
I'm Ashley Deem, a lifelong Republican running in the nonpartisan race for Kanawha County Circuit Judge. Born and raised in Kanawha County, I understand the challenges our families face.
Ashley Deem is a conservative who will be tough on crime and apply the law fairly. Vote for Ashley Deem for Circuit Judge. Paid for by the committee to elect Ashley Deem for Judge.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Hey, aren't you that chef that's running for magistrate?
I am the chef that's running for magistrate. I'm incumbent magistrate Gary Sheff, SHEFF. I'm the only chef on the ballot. I'd appreciate your vote and the opportunity to continue to serve Kanawha County as Division 9 Magistrate.
This message is paid for by the Committee to Keep Magistrate Gary Sheff, Greg Silverman, Treasurer.
Thank you for your support. I'm Gary Sheff, and I approve this message.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
18 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. With more than $20 billion recovered, they believe that when you're injured, you deserve more. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Let's go right to Senator Joe Manchin. Senator, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dave. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, sir. Thank you for being here. Before we get into anything else, we learned last night of the passing of Joe Lieberman. You issued a statement about it last night. Talk about Joe Lieberman.
Oh my goodness, Dave! I just got off the phone with his beautiful wife, Hadassah, and their family, and I've known them for a long, long time. But it was a shock. It was an unexpected shock, and it was to all of us. And we were on a Zoom earlier this morning. All the people that work with Joe and some of our senators were on just basically discussing a wonderful life and a legacy that he left and the memories he left us all. Joe was a true bipartisan person. Joe was always looking. He never said no. You asked Joe to do something, he said, let me think about that. Maybe we can make something work. And that was the pure spirit of democracy and the policies that we're supposed to be looking at that are serious and need serious attention. But if you always say no and just you go up to someone and says, can you work with me on this? And I say, no, I'm not for that. How do you know? You haven't even talked to me yet. Joe was the person that showed me exactly how it worked and should work in Washington. And him and John McCain, working across, being big buddies, the D's and the R, no matter what your identification. And people now are trying to make decisions based on what's your title. Mm-hmm. Your title should be an American. And I want to fix things. If you're a Democrat, you might have a different idea and a way of fixing it. And if you're a Republican, but together, I'll guarantee you can fix it. So I've never had a person that was more of a bipartisan, more of a moderate than Joe Lieberman. He is in my lifetime, he is the one person, the guiding light of modernization, how you get things done, how the country works together and comes together. And we're going to miss him.
Yeah, indeed. I want to get to some serious stuff here in a couple of moments, but sure. I have to say this. I have never been more proud of Joe Manchin, and I said this on the air, even though we may differ on some things from time to time, than I was when those rude idiots disrupted your meeting with that in-your-face anti-coal garbage, and you jumped up before an aide got involved, and at the risk of sounding like a total fanboy, Senator, that was pretty badass. I'm not going to lie.
Well, let me tell you one thing. It went through me like a knife. I understand my role as a public servant. I understand people who protest. I really appreciate the protesters because I can usually talk to a protester who's really just out there screaming and raising one. And I said, let me ask you something. If I can just finish my meeting here, will you sit down with me and we can discuss our differences? And maybe we don't disagree as much as you might think. 9 out of 10, I'm going to say, sure, we love that. We just want to meet with you. I said, you got no problem. You have a meeting. This is called climate defiance. Their only goal in life is to just absolutely be totally disruptive and uncouth, and they're basically climate terrorists is what they are. They don't want to find an answer. They don't care about can we come to an agreement and are talking about what the facts are. And that guy, I'm sitting there and I say, oh, here they go. Okay, and I've heard them before, and they've been following me around, and they know I was going to speak in different parts of the country. But Dave, when he said the vulgar, I'm sitting there, my daughter was sitting with me, and when he said the vulgarity he did, it went. I just lost it. I was going right for the neck.
Yeah,
I was going to pin him against the wall and beat the living crap out of him. But then my guy stepped in front of me, and he said, "You can't do it. You can't do it." And I said, "Hey, John." He said, "You can't do it." As soon as he said he can't do it, John turns around and grabs him by the pants and throws his head first through the door. I said, "Hey, John, how come you could do it?" And he said, "That's my job. I can do that. You can't." I said, "Well, I wanted to, I said, give me some pleasure here.
At the end of the day, suit and tie notwithstanding, you're still a West Virginian. So,
oh my God!
Right,
he hit the wrong button, but Dave, he hit the wrong.
Well, there's
button.
no way. I mean, and I think you said it well, Senator. Climate terrorists. That's pretty much what they are. I want to talk about some recent stuff. Recently passed appropriations minibus package, as it was called. What can you tell us about that?
Oh my God! The bills included defense, financial services, homeland security, labor, health, and human services, and state foreign operations and programs. It's unbelievable. We saved the gas stoves. We strengthened border security. We put $496 million to hire 22,000 Border Patrol agents, $125 million Border Patrol overtime pay, 7,500 more detention beds, and $720 million for ICE deportation. We have got to secure the border. I'm urging and pleading with the President of the United States, call a national emergency. We've given you money now to make sure people cannot get into our country. This catch and release has to stop. This parole to border has to stop. We've got to round up the people that were let in before we could adjudicate them to find out if they had a reason or a purpose of being here and get them out of here. That's just that. You've got to secure the border. So this was the first move in that. Blocking drugs at the border. We include language that authored report granting Homeland Security Investigation Authority. We didn't have that before. So there's an awful lot of wins here. But fighting, supporting our military, we had $500 million Department of Defense, which was directed directly into West Virginia. It doubles what we received last year. We are promoting all the above American energy. I said, for the first time, David, in my lifetime, over 40 years now, this is the first time that we have been totally energy secure as a nation. We have produced more oil and gas. Our coal production is up 5%, and we've invested in clean energy and produced it more there than ever before. The President cannot acknowledge and saying we're doing more oil, more gas, more fossil, cleaner than better than anywhere in the world. He can't even say that. And I keep telling him, you want to know why people aren't believing what you're saying? Because you won't say it. We did it. You had to sign it. We wrote the bill. I know what was in it. And we got more investments coming to West Virginia than ever in the history of our country, ever in my time in West Virginia. So we should embrace everything. And West Virginia, we are okay with the transition. We know you're going to need coal, and we can do it and produce it cleaner. We can use it for added value. We have a lot of things we can. And there's a demand for our coal around the world like never before. And we're producing the gas, and we're building the pipeline, the MVP pipeline, that's going to deliver gas to the southeast and down in North Carolina and our military bases, and people don't have. They're starved down there and paying exorbitant prices. So there's a lot of good things that we've done there. In rural West Virginia, implementing the rural definition, let me just explain to you. 20% of American population, 66 million of us, David, lives in what we call rural America. But when the funding came down, and I noticed this during the COVID, when they start sending money out to help hospitals and help education, rural America, places like West Virginia, was getting 8 or 9% because we don't have a mass concentration of population. So they just dip out a little bit at a time, thinking there wasn't a good return. And I said, this is unfair. I said, we're 20%. We should have 20% of every dollar going out should be designated that must be used in rural America. And that's where Appalachia is. So we got that done. And improving miners' health and safety. We had $425 million for black lung disability, another $29 million for special benefits for disabled coal miners, and $12 million for black lung clinics, and $387 million for miners' safety and health. So, buddy, we there's a lot in there for us that we keep fighting for. Well, let me just tell you, in Charleston, you want to know, $15 million to establish state-of-the-art neuroscience institute at CMC, $15 million for that. $2.2 million to renovate facilities at West Virginia Department of Arts and Culture, History in Charleston. $1.5 to expand School of Nursing at Bridge Valley. $595,000 developed the West Virginia National Guard Small Business Center in Charleston. So we're doing all we can, buddy, and we've been working with Shelley, and we work well together. We're the only two senators. Out of 100 senators, we are the only two that both set on appropriations.
Well, Senator, I know you got a tight schedule. Before we let you go, I do have one other thing to bring up to you.
Sure. It's
going to be Trump v. Biden 2.0. That's the way it's looking. Any thoughts from you on that?
Well, I think, I've served with both of them, and I know both men, and I've been as honest as I can. I'm concerned about the democracy we have, and I'm concerned about the liberalism that basically Joe Biden has been pulled over to the left. I'm concerned about both, and I've said that I know for the rule of law and the things that we love dearly in our this country, we've had a lot of challenges, but we've never challenged the rule of law and the orderly transfer of power. We've never tried. And Donald Trump will challenge that, and I'm very scared of that. So I've said I cannot support a vote for Donald Trump. I'm having a hard time supporting Joe Biden right now, and he is not the Joe Biden I have known. He's not the centrist Joe Biden you could work with. So I can't even tell you right now, but unless I can pull them back, I'm like a lot of Americans right now, kind of caught between and betwixt. I feel homeless and helpless.
Is there still zero chance you get into it, sir?
Yeah, I just, I've looked at it every way I can. I'm so flattered. You can't tell. I mean, the flattery, and just it's an honor to people even to think that they would think that high of you to be at that position. But I just believe it's going to take a movement to the center. It doesn't matter whether you're D or not. We're going to have to find people that really they should be the big A. What you should have is the big A. I'm an American, okay? Mm-hmm. If you have a D identification, you're an independent I or an R or whatever, libertarian, anything you want to be is fine, as long as your purpose is to fix the challenges we have before us. And we have challenges. The enemy is not the Republican if you're a Democrat, and the enemy is not the Democrat if you're Republican. I'll tell you where the enemies are in the world, and they're coming after us hard. And we better get our act together. If not, divided you will fall. United, they cannot defeat us. So we've got to bring the country together. So I will say this. If Donald Trump becomes the president, I will do everything I can to help and support him be the best president he can ever be. I think that's my role as an American. If Joe Biden becomes it, but you got to be able to speak truth to power, David, and people are scared to do that. And I'll tell you, I've been in the White House. I've been sitting in that Oval Office. I've been upstairs, and they try to put the pressure on you to do something that I knew that West Virginia would not support. I knew this is not how we were raised, and I couldn't do it. And when the president sits there by yourself, and here you come from West Virginia, and you think, oh, my goodness, I'm in the most powerful office in the world, the most powerful person with the most powerful economy and the most powerful military, and he's asking me to do something because I've got to do this to help the country. And I know it's not right. And you have to look and say, boy, you have to dig deep down inside. And I said, both of them have done this to me, Trump and Biden. They grabbed me right and said, Joe, country needs you. And in my own way, I'd say, and very respectful, I'd hold their arm. And I said, Mr. President, the country needs you too. It needs us all. We're all in this together, and we can work this out. And that's just the way it is.
All right. Senator Joe Manchin, we got to leave it there. I know you got to go. I appreciate you being here as always, sir. We'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot.
Anytime, Dave. Enjoy being with you and keep doing the great work you're doing.
All right, thank you. 9:53. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy West Virginia tackles pressing health issues. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians, aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes on WVMetroNews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Career politicians in Charleston and Washington are taxing our families too much. Let's vote for a Republican that will fight for us. Republican Dwayne Duncan, running for Kanawha County Commission, wants to cut taxes for all our families. Dwayne Duncan wants more jobs, lower taxes, and safer communities. Dwayne Duncan is a job creator and believes you should keep more of your hard-earned money. Let's vote for lower taxes and more jobs. Let's vote for Republican Dwayne Duncan for Kanawha County Commission.
Paid for by Dwayne Duncan for County Commission. Tori DeCubo, Treasurer.
When Cynthia came to TurboTax, she just launched her new side gig, a true crime podcast.
I'm a first-rate detective with a golden voice.
As her TurboTax expert, I made her second income count by guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and her maximum refund.
What did she do with that refund? Find out next week.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Having issues with your home like wet basements, water in your crawl space, bowing or leaning walls, or foundation cracks? You need Foster Construction, your foundation repair experts. Locally owned and operated, Foster Construction offers free inspections and estimates and has a licensed professional engineer on staff. Their services include basement and crawl space waterproofing, foundation repair, and retaining walls. Call 304-776-6263 and get started today. Online at fosterconstructionwv.com. Foster Construction. They'll fix it right the first time.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
West Virginia and Reds, in collaboration with Huntington, invite you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. Take a few minutes to be inspired and join the collective effort and make a difference. Not just a story, it's a movement of hope, inclusivity, and triumph, reminding us all that every individual deserves a chance to shine. And West Virginia beyond, Huntington truly making a difference right here at home. See a video highlighting Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Phone calls to the show at service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy. The Dave Allen Show brought to you by Bridge Valley. We'll hear more from Bridge Valley coming up on the show tomorrow as Casey Sachs. Dr. Casey Sachs will be here. Dale Cooper is here.
Your live reads are like Dave Letterman's top 10 list. You just throw them behind you as you go through them.
From the home office in Shrewsbury. Yeah, all right. So it's opening day for the Reds, Mr. Cooper.
Yep. Man, unfortunately, the Reds have moved around their opening day schedules of late, and so they start later in the day now, and I can't put it on CHS for opening day like I did for years. This is the third year in a row now that they start too late in the day. So the game today is going to be over on our sister station, of course. The newly tweaked and reformatted and brightened up, hopefully, Charleston Sports Radio 106.7, 1490. You can catch the Reds on there. The pregame will start today at about 3:40 is when the pregame will start. First pitch is at 4:10. The Reds, of course, we had on Hotline earlier this week, we had the guys from Select Cards and Collectibles when talking about collectibles. They said the Reds are super hot right now. A lot of their players are hot, and it's outside of the Reds core. So they're saying that baseball fans in general are asking about the Reds. The Reds are a hot commodity right now. Suffering through some injury problems to start the season. Matt McClain is likely out for the season, or the vast majority of it. Novelli Marte, probably their top prospect, depending on who you talk to, between him and Ellie De La Cruz. Marte is drug suspended for 80 games. If the Reds make the postseason, he's out for the postseason as well. That's a big hole in the middle of their lineup, or in the middle of their infield that they had to fill. So they've done some backfilling with some free agent signings and things like that, but they still have a lot of depth, a lot of pitching, a lot of young talent, including Ellie De La Cruz and Encarnacion. And Strand is still going to be up there, of course, and Steer, who had such a great season last year. So this is an exciting team. Really looking forward to see what the Reds do.
I think it's going to be an exciting season. As I said, at this point, we are undefeated, and we're still alive for the playoffs.
That's right.
So I'm excited. It's going to be weird, though, not hearing them say up to bat Votto.
I know,
it's going to be so weird.
I know, man. I so wish Cincy is visiting Toronto, but Toronto is not coming to Cincinnati. I really wanted Toronto to visit Cincinnati so I'd have a chance to go see Votto even on another team again. But, I mean, he was my favorite player of this team for the longest time. I like him. He's turned into like a social media, just a clown, just the funniest guy. I mean, he's a great follow on social media, thoughtful too. I mean, just a good guy to follow. I'm going to miss Votto, but things change, and I like these new Reds. I think that you got some leadership potential in like a Spencer Steer, and we'll see what happens with De La Cruz. He could be the Acuna of the Reds if he's able to catch fire. We'll see.
All right, and coverage begins at what time on Charleston's ESPN Radio?
It's going to be at 3:40 this afternoon, and then they have a day off, and then the next game will be on CHS on Saturday.
Nothing like opening day in Cincinnati. We'll definitely be listening. Right. Coop, as always, I appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, Dale Cooper again. The Reds. This is our year. This is our year. All right, it is always our year. All right, we gotta go. Thank you so much to all my guests on the show today. Coming up on the show tomorrow, Hannah Gardner with our Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association, Dr. Casey Sachs from Bridge Valley, and more coming up tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.